Hello, Commander. Grab a seat because we're going all in on the Tempest Rising campaigns, both GDF and Tempest Dynasty. We're talking about every single mission, from the ones that felt like a Sunday stroll to the absolute meat grinders that had me questioning my sanity, my skills, and at times, even the integrity of my mouse and keyboard. This is it. My ultimate ranking of Tempest Rising missions. From barely broke a sweat to are you kidding me? You know the feeling. Staring at that defeat screen for the 5th time in a row, cursing under your breath about some insane enemy spam or an objective timer that raises your anxiety through the roof and leads to you making bad decisions. Or maybe you absolutely crushed a mission and felt like an RTS god for a day. Well, today I'm here to say, I get it, and I'm ranking them all. Ever played a mission where it feels like the AI has a personal vendetta against you? Like it knows your every move, your build order, and is just blatantly cheating? Yeah, we've all been there. There's this one GDF mission, we'll get to it, that some players say it took them upwards of 6 hours to beat on harder difficulties. 6 hours? That's not a mission. That's a part-time job with a really terrible boss. And then you got those missions that are so straightforward, you almost feel sorry for the AI. Almost. I'm covering the whole roller coaster. The missions are rated based on how easy or hard it is to complete them 100% on the insane difficulty. Let's start off easy, shall we? Just like the game itself, our ranking kicks off with the missions that are, let's say, pretty gentle. These are the ones that basically hold your hand, give you a pat on the back, and make you feel like a tactical genius without you even trying too hard. They often make you ask yourself, is this a tutorial? And they belong in the easy tier. The first and most obvious entry in this category is the first mission in the GDF campaign, Signal Lost. This mission gives you access to a very powerful specialist, an MCV, and lots of Tempest to play with. Oh, and you'll probably complete the secondary objective on accident while still trying to figure out what the left and right clicks do in this game. It's basically the game saying, welcome, here's how you right-click. It's a necessary starting point, and honestly, a nice little breather before things really kick off. The second entry in this category is just as obvious as the first one, and it's the first mission in the Tempest Dynasty's campaign, Harvest the Tempest. The beginning of this mission is slightly more difficult than its GDF counterpart, but it's still very easy. There's a limited number of enemies on the map which you can take at your own pace, and that makes it really easy to stroll to the final objective. This mission introduces you to this hard-hitting faction and their obsession with those Tempest finds. It's a good intro to the faction that loves a good old-fashioned blitz. Next, we have the second mission in the GDF campaign called the Hornet's Nest. This mission keeps up the chill pace of the first one while slowly introducing new units and mechanics. You might face slightly bigger enemy groups, but it's nothing you can't handle with a bit of focus. Your base is in an easily defensible location, and you have access to lots of Tempest. That makes it easy to produce a lot of units and overpower your opponents. This mission basically teaches you how to expand your base and capture and hold resource fields, which are very useful skills in later missions. The last entry in this category is the 5th mission in the GDF campaign called The Pass. There are plenty of reasons why this mission ranks so low in the difficulty tier. The map is full of choke points, which you can take over and easily defend against any number of enemies, which don't put too much of a fight anyway. And you also get access to advanced units. All these reasons combined make for a very fun mission, but not a difficult one. All right, now we're hitting missions that make you use your brain a little. These aren't going to make you smash your keyboard just yet, but they'll definitely make you pay attention. You might need to watch your money a bit closer, think about your unit mix, and hey, maybe even use a control group or two. First in this category, we have The Informant, which is the second mission in the Tempest Dynasty's campaign. This mission is slightly more difficult than its GDF counterpart because you really need to pay attention. In order to succeed, you need to secure some extra resources, always be on the lookout for minefields, and when you finally decide to leave your base, beware of attacks from behind. Overall, this is a fun mission and a good introduction to the Dynasty's aggressive style. Next, we have the third mission in the GDF campaign, Paradropped. In this mission, you get access to the Sniper Specialist, and if you pay attention, you'll complete the secondary objectives on your way to the main one. The map is filled with explosive barrels, which makes it really fun to get rid of enemy units and buildings while making your way to the main objective. The only real challenge in this mission is one of the final objectives, where you need to hold the base for a certain amount of time while under heavy attack. But it's a moderate challenge, which makes it perfect for this category. Coming up next, we have Retaliation, the fourth mission in the GDF campaign. This mission is slightly harder than anything in the GDF campaign so far, but not hard enough to earn its spot in a superior category. You're constantly attacked by air and ground units, but it makes no difference because your base is in an easily defensible location, and you also have access to powerful units and defenses. Once you've set up some decent defenses, you'll have no problem roaming the map and clearing all the objectives. Moving on to the next mission in this category, we have the fourth mission in the Dynasties campaign called Where It Hurts. You get access to a very powerful specialist called the Physicist, but you're constantly under attack. The actual challenge in this mission comes from the fact that your access to resources is very limited. That throttles down the Dynasty's aggressive style, but once you manage to expand your harvesting operation, it's pretty much over for the enemy. Next, we have Pull That Base Apart, the sixth mission in the GDF campaign. You once again get access to the Sniper Specialist, but also the very powerful Drone Assassin. You have a very limited squad to make your way through a large number of enemies, but if you play your cards right, you might even get some mercenary assistance. Overall, a moderate challenge and a pretty fun mission. Moving on to another GDF mission, we have the seventh mission in the campaign, Public Relations. You're constantly under attack, but once you've set up some proper defenses, it should no longer be a problem, and you can freely roam the map to remove any and all opposition. If you clear the map before rescuing the civilians, everything becomes a cakewalk. Even defending the hospital is manageable because of its position, and once you have some defenses in place, you end up eliminating most of the attackers before they can even spot you due to the high ground advantage. The Sins of the Sun is the next entry in this category. This is the seventh mission in the Dynasties campaign, and another one of those missions where you control a small squad without significant reinforcements against a large number of enemies. To succeed, you only need to follow two steps. Always pay attention to ground elevation and never attack enemy defenses head-on. If you have any kind of micromanagement skill, this mission won't be a problem. The last and probably most surprising entry in this category is the final mission in the Dynasties campaign, Fire of the Gods. Here you've got access to plenty of resources, Dynasty and GDF units. The map is filled with easily defendable choke points, and the secondary objectives are straightforward. Even the final waves are easy to handle since you have all the time in the world to set up defenses around the temple before triggering the final objective. The only kind of difficulty here comes from the fact that it's very long. And now we've got to the part where things start to get interesting. These are the missions that begin to wear you down. While not impossible, they've got mechanics or difficulty spikes that will probably lead to some frustration. And after a few reloads, you might find yourself directing some colorful language towards the screen. This is the hard tier.
Pleasure. Yes.
The first entry in this category is Ratcatcher, which is the fifth mission in the Dynasties campaign. Yet another one of those missions where you control a small squad against large numbers of enemies, but in this case, the enemy presence is really heavy. At some point, you even capture an enemy base, but you don't get access to advanced defenses, and the enemy constantly swarms you. The fact that the objectives are all over the place does not help either. A perfect entry for this tier. Moving on, we have the next mission in the Dynasties campaign, Harvesting Duty. In this mission, you're put in charge of a harvesting operation, and you have two allies, which very quickly become a source of frustration when you realize just how incompetent they are, and that you also must do their jobs while also defending them. But I believe that's the whole point of the mission, just to show how incompetent the other commanders are. This mission earns its spot because not only do you have to babysit your allies, you also have to defeat the enemy twice, since they re-establish bases immediately after the original ones are defeated. Once again, we have another Dynasty mission, and this time, it's Buried, which is the 8th mission in the campaign. First, you need to find and reinforce a base to prepare for an incoming convoy, which you also need to protect. Just to make things interesting, the convoy arrives behind enemy lines, and of course, all these things must happen under the pressure of a timer, because it wouldn't be fun otherwise, would it? Even when you secure the convoy and are on your way to the final objective, the enemy finds ways to give you trouble. So this is another well-earned spot in this category. Remember that mission that I mentioned at the beginning? The one that took some players 6 hours? Yup, this is it. The 9th mission in the GDF campaign, Ancient Power. This mission is just infuriating because you're constantly juggling timers and objectives while under heavy attack from an enemy you're meeting for the first time. The only reason I did not rank this mission higher is the fact that GDF has really strong defenses, which make this marathon of pain somewhat manageable. Next, we have Power of the Tempest, which is the 9th Dynasty mission. In this mission, you control a very small squad and get no reinforcements. You need to keep your squad alive by avoiding the clashing forces of the GDF and Veti, while also completing your own objectives. Even if you do everything right and manage to somehow clear the whole map, you might still get overwhelmed in the end if you're not careful. The last mission in this category is Heart of Glass, which is the last mission in the GDF campaign. This mission is a marathon of ever-changing objectives and constant attacks from the Veti. First, you start as a specialist attempting to complete objectives while dodging enemy patrols. Then, you need to build a base and defend it. Then, you need to capture a Dynasty base and defend that. Then, you need to stop Veti reinforcements. Then, you capture and hold another Dynasty base while under really heavy attack. Finally, you need to take out some Veti structures to make their shield drop. Phew, it really is a marathon, and I got tired just by making this summary. Okay, this is it. These are the missions that show who the real commanders are. These are the keyboard bangers, the rage quitters, the missions that will haunt your dreams. Tight timers, insane odds, enemy advantages that just feel unfair. This tier has it all. The Ancient Basin is the first entry in this category, which is the 8th GDF mission. This mission begins slowly, but it quickly ramps the difficulty up to 11 when it makes you build a base under heavy enemy attack while also capturing harvesters all across the map and intercept an enemy convoy, which of course is nowhere near your base, and finally evacuate before you get overwhelmed. And just because your stress levels weren't high enough, you need to do all of it under the pressure of a really tight timer. A well-earned spot in this category. Moving on, we have the 10th mission in the GDF campaign, The Fall of Alexandria. Once again, timers are the bane of our existence. Not only do you have to build a base and evacuate civilians in a VIP before the enemy attacks, it also has the audacity to pull a bait and switch on you. If you manage to finish a certain objective before the timer expires, you no longer have access to a secondary objective. The cherry on top comes in the form of a war ender, which is ridiculously overpowered and goes through your defenses like a hot knife through butter.
I'm hoping he knows something I don't.
Next, we have the 10th Dynasty mission, The Fall of a Dynasty. You start surrounded by 2 Veti bases, and you can only build some units and no structures. Once you start activating the drills, you need to defend as well as you can against the incoming Veti, while also tiptoeing around the other Dynasty base, which is now your enemy. The last part of the mission has you escort a VIP through insane numbers of enemies. Another well-earned spot. And the last entry on this list, and the most annoying mission of all, at least in my book, is the third mission in the Dynasty campaign, Redirection. This mission has everything. Tight timers, insane enemy numbers, secondary objectives spread all over the map which you won't complete unless you make full use of the tiny squad you get in the beginning. There's literally no room for error in this mission. And being only the third mission in the campaign, it completely catches you off guard with its huge difficulty spike. Wow, look at that. We actually made it through that list. That's my ranking of every Tempest Rising mission, from a walk in the park to a full-blown keyboard-denting nightmare. But hey, that's just my take on it. What about you? Which mission made you want to throw your monitor out the window? What was your easiest, most satisfying steamroll? Let me know down in the comments. I really want to hear your war stories. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, or maybe just got some satisfaction from my suffering, hit that like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I need to go lie down. My mouse hand is starting to cramp just thinking about redirection again. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.